Hello everybody, how are you? Welcome back to another video. So like I said before, I said there's going to be a class tier list coming very soon. Today is the day. Now, before you go, hey Barba, they just released update 35 patch notes. You know, they're changing this class, that class. I know. But that's not coming for a while. So we're going to have to deal with the BS crap that's going on in ESO right now. So I figured I'd give my opinion on the current state of the game, because it's going to be a while before the next update comes out. So, yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to another video, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Just to let you know, I'm going to pretty much place random classes in where they belong on the tier list, so you don't give away anything. I'm not going to do it in order, and I'm not going to do timestamps because I want you to listen to my explanations. Because I will give a rationale for each class and each decision I make. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. And if you don't comment and like the video, you're a loser. Yeah, I said it. You're a loser. So let's do it. So we will start with, like, I guess we'll do, like, just at random. So, you know what? Let's first start with Stam Warden. Why not? So Stamina Warden, I think, is a B class. It is way better than its counterpart, Mag Warden. Much better in my opinion. Has a lot better damage because, well, you can pretty much hybrid it now. So before, Magden was probably better in my personal opinion, only because you had Deep Fissure with the Major Breach. But now everything's hybrid, so Stamden use Deep Fissure, and then they can use their stamina spammable, like, you know, Dizzying Swing or Whirling Blades or anything of that sort, and then they throw on Dawnbreaker, and they're a pretty nasty build. They also have Vigor. Vigor's getting changed next patch, I know, but for the current state of the game, Vigor's very powerful with Leeching Vines. So, yeah, Stamden is very good. They have insane burst. They have crazy. They're one of the only stamina classes that can just use a class ultimate for a heal, which is very good with Enchanted Forest. So overall, Stamden's beast. They're really fast because they get Major Expedition on top of their medium armor passives, if that's what you are running. So I see a lot of Stamdens being beast. I see a lot of Ashen Grip on Stamden, and I see a lot of healing power, and it's one of the, again, only stamina classes that can really heal for your team. They're not a selfish healing class. They can do a lot for the entire team. They're very good in small group. They're very good in really every setting. But as you know, Warden is what it is. It lacks a little bit of burst, I think. So without Deep Fissure, what are you doing? It's tough. So yeah, that's how I feel about Stam Warden. Let me know what you think. I think that's a pretty good assumption. So next, we will throw... Why not? Let's do Magic Necro, or Magcro, as some would call it. Magcro is really annoying. The problem with Magcro is that there's really only one option, and it's Harmony. You can't really play a non-Harmony build on a Magcro. It just simply doesn't work. I tried it many times. It's just not that good. I did drop a couple build videos for non-Harmony builds that are pretty good, but in general, like, the damage is so lackluster. Their class skills are so ass besides Blast Bones. Like, everything about the class is centered around being a Harmony build. So, like, that's literally what you have to run. You have to be a Harmony build. So I'm just, like, not with that, you know? Like, I don't really like playing Harmony. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's not really what I want to do. So for me, I know in my heart that Magic Necro is a really good class because they have the healing power. They're tanky. They have an insane heal from Spirit Mender. I know it's getting nerfed next patch. Don't remind me. But yeah, it has a crazy healing power, and it has crazy damage mitigation, and it has crazy resistance. So it's really good. I mean, their spammable heal gives them a bunch of resistance. So it's a really good class. And the burst is, the problem with the burst is that although it's very powerful and can wipe an entire group, It struggles because it's hard to line up. You have to wait for your Grave Robber proc and your save your alt, really, in my opinion. So, although it's solid, I don't think it smacks how it used to for me. I used to love my Harmony build and I used to clap everybody, but now I just don't really like it anymore. I don't know. I've kind of moved on. But nonetheless, they're really good in group play, and they're insanely good when you're in a group because if you use Dark Convergence, you're like, pull Dark Convergence, drop your Grave Robber, drop your ult, GG's. You're going to kill some people. So, without Dark Convergence, it's a little tough, I think. But it's a kind of a, it's like a bread and butter set. You have to use Dark Convergence, in my opinion. It's just too good not to use. So, yeah, Necro is great. Don't get me wrong, but, you know, they have so many options when it comes to tankiness. But in my opinion, I don't like the tunnel vision that Zoss has gotten when it comes to doing their damage. I mean, they don't even have a class sorcery buff. They don't even have a spell damage buff. Like, if they don't fix the summon for the archer and make him, you know, weapon brutality and sorcery, then they're being so stupid. So, yeah. Overall, I do think Necro is incredible in small group, big group, and solo. So they can 1vx well. Let's move on. So next, what we're gonna do is why not throw another Stam build? So Stam Templar. Now, in my opinion, Stam Templar does not hit how it used to. Stam Templar is not as good as Magic. It's just not. So that's a little spoiler. Magic Templar is going to be higher on the list. Why? Well, Magic Templar just hits like a freaking truck, dude. Like, and it has better healing. So, like, what does it matter? Stam Templar is good, like, don't get me wrong. And the nice thing about Templar overall is that it's an easy class to learn. Although it's annoying and it pisses me off, it is a good beginner class because really, essentially, all you do is gap close and biting jabs. Like, there's nothing else to really do. So, like, that is good. And the nice thing about Stam Templar now is that since everything's hybrid, you are allowed to use Radiant Destruction because Radiant Destruction is literally God mode. So it's so broken, dude. You can't block it. You can't dodge it. Actually, I think you might be able to block it. I'm not sure. That is something I don't know. So sorry, I don't know everything. But yeah, Stam Templar is really great. Much like Magic Warden, or I'm sorry, Stam Warden, they have a cleanse. So I think they're the only two Stam classes besides Necro that technically have a cleanse, but Templar's cleanse is way better than the rest. It's so much better. Like Purifying Ritual hits a diff. It's so good. Such a good skill. That skill literally is like, it carries the class in my opinion. Like having a cleanse that gets rid of what, 4 or 5, 6, I don't know how many negative effects, but dude, it's so good. It's so good. And Biting Jab is insane because it gives you your crit chance within a skill, so it's saving a spar slot. So that's really nice as well. And then if you use Expert Hunter, you automatically are getting that Minor Berserk because it's so easy to hit people from the side or like from the flank and get the Minor Berserk on a Stamina Templar. So Stam Templar is a great class. It's still good. It's just not the same as it used to be in my opinion because Magic Templar has overtaken it for sure. Magic Templar is crazy good now. So sadly, like always, Stam Templar just is a little bit overshadowed by Magic Templar. That's just how I feel. I mean, I love my bread and butter Deadly build. I like Clever Alchemist, and Deadly is such a good setup on a Templar. But, you know, it is what it is. It's not as good as it used to be, in my opinion. They're annoying to fight, but, you know, Magic's a little better. It's broken right now. It's best class in the game. Not even going to lie, I think it is. So let's just move on to the next one. So now, we're just going to get this one out of the way, because who freaking cares, okay? Magic Nightblade. Every tier list I've ever done, I've had Magic Nightblade at the bottom. Why? Anyone know why? You don't all raise your hand at once. Okay. It's bad, because stamina is just a million times better. Like, I saw a video, I believe Delzia's Gaming came out with his own tier list, and he said a point that really made sense to me. Everything in the Magic Nightblade's toolkit, from the way it lines up its burst to pretty much everything, is so much overshadowed by every other class. The whole point of Magic Nightblade is to get that Merciless Resolve proc, right? It takes 5 light attacks. 5 light attacks. That's a lot, man. 5 weaves just to get a proc on your Merciless Resolve that somebody's probably gonna dodge. That is so trash. So trash. And the spammable does not hit how it should compared to its stamina counterpart of Concealed Weapon. It's just not that good. Or, I'm sorry, not Concealed Weapon. Surprise Attack. Surprise Attack is so much better. But it just doesn't hit as how it used to. It doesn't have the it doesn't have as much healing power in my opinion. It just doesn't have anything it needs to have to be as good as its stamina version. Don't get me wrong, I think this is a good build in a duel. I think I've seen Magic Nightblades win dueling tournaments and be very, very good 1v1 because they have a lot of, planned burst, and they have a lot of, if you're using no stealth build, they're better because you can line up things a little better, but it's just tough. It really is. They're squishy. They're just not that good. Like, there's really no other way to say it. If you're not a bomber, there's no point. Bombers are good, but the reason they're even worse this patch is because stamina bombers are literally better. So, ever since the hybrid changes. So, like, if you have to use Clearion's Legacy, by the way, Clearion's Legacy is getting shadow nerfed next patch. They nerfed it, just saying. But, anyways, the point is, Magic Nightblade needs more healing. I mean, they have the Shade to get out of bad situations, which is really, really nice. But outside of that, they don't have much going for them. Right now, they're just in a tough spot. There's no reason to dive deeper. They're in a tough spot, and we all know that. We know why. They don't have enough. The burst is too hard to line up. It gets dodged. Yeah, if you are able to land your burst, great job. You're probably going to get a kill. But then you have to build up 5 late attacks again. Think about it this way. If I'm playing on a Warden and I use Deep Fissure, I can use Deep Fissure like 3 times before you can even Merciless Resolve once. So, just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind, how much of a difference that is. I can use 3 of my main spammable that applies Major Breach, compared to Nightblade being able to use Merciless Resolve once every 5 light attacks. I think it makes a huge difference. So, let's move on. Sorry for all you Magic Nightblade users out there, but I'm telling you, class is trash. Alright, so let's move on. We're going to throw an S tier class in, because why the hell not? I'm going to piss some people off with this one. It seems like every time I do a tier list, Stamina Sorcerers, they just get all butthurt in my comments. Like, relax, alright? Your class is OP. It's so broken. Okay, now let's talk about it. Why is Stamina Sorc so freaking good? Number 1, Crystal Weapon is broken. Number 2, the hybrid changes amplified how broken Stam Sorcerer is. Alright, and I just want you guys to know, you're getting completely gutted next update, and you deserve it. You Stam Sorcs out there, you deserve the nerf. I really feel like you do. Savage Werewolf, you're getting nerfed. Sorry. That's the main reason they're so freaking good. Savage Werewolf, if you don't know now, procs on every light attack and it stacks. So, I've gotten hit for 40k one time. It was only once, but it was crazy. I literally got off that instant. I was like, alright, see you later. Because they were sitting there using a bow or a Destro Staff, probably a bow because the bow's OP. And just using Savage Werewolf. That's it. And Crystal Weapon and spamming light attacks. And it was ridiculous. It was so good. So that's probably the main issue right now is why they're so good is because they go together with Savage Werewolf so well. That set is really insane. It is getting nerfed. Next patch, you now have to be in melee range to proc it, which is a good change in my opinion because Jesus Christ, they were so annoying, really so annoying. But why else is Stam good? Well, they have insane movement, right? Their burst potential is redonkulous. Bound Ornaments is another good set or skill. I'm sorry, and they have Streak. They also, the way I see it, is their skills are better value than every other's classes because what I say by that is you get more for each skill individually. Like, for example, Streak. You're getting a gap closer, a get out of jail free card, a movement skill, and a CC out of it. You're able to get away from people, close the gap on people while stunning them. It's pretty much just get out of my way. I'm going to stun 17 people. I remember the days when Stam Sorc would use Unleash Terror, and people would streak through an entire group, unleash on everyone. Like, it's crazy. That's kind of what's going on with Savage Werewolf now. It seems like Stamsork is always the class that pairs so well with the proc sets. So Stamsork is very good. Now Crystal Weapon's getting a huge nerf next patch, so I really am glad about that. Sorry for all you Stamsork users, but it makes my heart warm that that's going to happen. So we know why they're good, right? If you use a Dawnbreaker, Crystal Weapon, now as a Stamsork as well, you can use Mage's Wrath. So you have a range finisher. So what I've been seeing people do is use a bow, they use Crystal Weapon, they use Savage Werewolf, and they use Mage's Wrath as their finisher because they don't have to go near anyone. So it is really good. It's either a bow build or a dual wield build, because dual wield's very, very good on Stamsork as well with the spin to win. Also, a nice little tip for you guys, you're getting a buff on Hurricane next patch. So that's good. It's going to do more damage. That's a good thing for you guys, but yeah, overall, Stamsork's got it all. They have pretty much unlimited sustain because they can trade their magic for stamina. They can trade their stamina for magic, vice versa. So that's really nice as well. Now, I do believe that skill's getting changed next update too, but again, this video is for the current state of the game, which is High Isle. So right now, they have crazy sustain, they have crazy movement, they have crazy burst, and now they can use a range finisher, aka probably the best finisher in the game, Mage's Wrath, because it procs automatically, so you don't even have to press the button. So for that reason, I do think they're either the top class in the game right now or the second best in the game. If you disagree, let me know. But if you, what constitutes a S tier for me? Having everything, basically. So movement, damage, tankiness, sustain, healing, everything. They got it all. They literally have it all. For that reason, I believe they're S tier. If you don't think so, let me know what you think down below. But we are gonna move on. So the next build we're gonna do, we will cover some more we'll do another magic class because we only have, we have less. So I'm gonna do Magic Sork. Since I just did Stamsork, I'm gonna do Magic Sork. Now, back in the day, last tier list I did, which was a long time ago, probably almost a year ago at this point, because I took a long break. But in my current opinion, I feel like Magic Sork is kind of it has no class identity anymore. The main reason I say that is because if you're playing a sorcerer, you're not gonna play straight up Magic Sork. I haven't seen anyone play straight Magic Sorcerer, and if you do, you're a bot. Like, honestly, like, I haven't ran into a Magic Sork in a long time since the hybridization and been like, oh, they're literally a Magic Sork. No, they're a hybrid stamina sorcerer. No one plays Mag Sork. Even if you have a destruction staff, you're still going to be using Crystal Weapon, and you're still probably going to be using Bound Ornaments, and you're still probably going to be using anything that a Stamsork's going to be using. So I don't really see any Magic Sorks. I think that's going to change next update. But on the positive, Magic Sork still has a lot of the things that obviously Stamsork has with its movement. They have crazy damage shields, which in my opinion, again, damage shields don't hit the same as they used to. Damage shields used to be so overpowered because you couldn't crit damage shields and you would stack 20 freaking K shield and never hurt them. So that's changed. They're not as good anymore. But I do think Stamsork is just superior in every freaking way. It's not even close. But Magic Sork, again, still has good burst if they can line it up. It's a lot tougher to line up the Mag Sork burst than it is the Stamsork, because you got to rely on Crystal Frags, but I think Crystal Frag was completely altered, if I'm not mistaken, right? It doesn't even exist really anymore. I think it's like a hard cast. I'm not really sure. I forget exactly how it worked. I haven't played Sork in a little while, but I know I play a lot of ESO, so I know Mag Sork's not as good. They don't have as much class identity as they used to. You know, like, I would hate running into a Mag Sork because I'd be like, shields, Crystal Frag, I'm going to get Mage's Wrath to death. So, in my opinion, it's not as good as it used to be. Let me know if you disagree. I mean, I know there's probably some Mag Sorts out there that be clapping people, but I need to know. I need to know. Does Mag Sork deserve more than a C? Because I don't think it does. It's just not good compared to Stamsork. And even like the main reason out of all is that I put them in C is just mostly because they don't have an identity anymore, really. I feel like I don't really notice them. So, yeah. But again, they have a lot of movement. They have a good CC with Streak. They can line up a lot of bursts if they use Meteor or light attacks. So I can't remember the spammable. Overload light attack. That's it. So yeah, they have a lot of burst potential per se, but I don't think it's just not what it used to be. But again, they have great sustain, and they're far better than a Magic Nightblade. Cue drum roll, bang. Anyways, so let's move on. We only have 6 left. We've already done 6, so we're halfway there. So let's move on. We are gonna do another. We'll do a stamina class again. So let's do Stam Necro. So the A tier is full of necromancers. Now, why is Stam Necro A tier? Well, in the past I've had Stam Necro at the S tier, and the A tier. It's either S or A. Main reason being is that, again, this is another class that has everything. They have crazy good healing with Mender, Vigor, Mortal Coil. Being able to have a free heal over time is ridiculous. Not only is it free heal over time, but it even gives you some resources back. So it's free resources. The heal is very strong. Stacking that with Vigor and Mender, have fun killing a Stam Necro. They're so tanky. And then on top of that, their Blast Bones is better than the Magic version for a million trillion reasons. Number one reason is that it applies Minor Defile, I believe, 10% less healing done. That's really good, or 8, it might be 8% now. I think it got changed, but that's really good. So basically, you're spammable in a way. Your Blast Bones is pretty much a spammable. It's going to be reducing their healing at all times. Crazy, crazy good. And then most people use either dual wield or, two-hand, but I see some people using a bow. But a lot of the Stam Necro is based around using that Defile and getting your Dawnbreaker down, or, on the other hand, you can use a Harmony Stamina build. Now, I honestly feel as though the Harmony Stamina version is better than the Magic version. Why? Well, sorry, I'm yawning. But the Stamina version, in my opinion, is better because you can use dual wield with Whirling Blades. Whirling Blades is better for AoE finishing people from a Harmony with an ultimate, better than anything the Magic can do. You can use Pulsar, Shock Pulse, on the Destruction staff for Magic, but that does not hit the same as Whirling Blades. Stam Necro has access to pretty much every major buff in the game. Much like Magic and Stamina Warden really has access to a lot of team buffs. Same thing with Magic Templar. They can apply Minor Sorcery, they have a cleanse for their team, they heal their team, they do this, that, and the other, and before you know it, your team has every buff they can imagine. So it's really, really nice. They can solo, they can duo, they can do everything. They really can do it all. And now that I'm thinking about it, they could easily be S tier. They could be S tier for sure. They always have been good. Necro has been good since it came out. It's just a very niche set for me. It's not like I don't know. You have to know the play style to play it. The only problem, in my opinion, with Necromancer is that they don't have a good class spammable. I feel like you're stuck using like a weapon ability, or you're stuck using Arterial Burst or Blood for Blood in the Vampire tree. So for that reason, yeah, it's a little annoying. But overall, we know Stam Necro's got it all: healing, tankiness, movement, defile, burst, you name it. You name it. They have a lot of versatility, and on top of it, if you really want to use an ulti spammer, you can use, I don't know what the Dead in Pain, I think, the other morph of Dead in Pain. So that's really nice. Now we are talking about the Oaken Soul meta, right? Everything's based around Oaken Soul. So in my opinion, I see a lot of Stam's work using Oaken Soul. It's kind of broken, right? We know, but Oaken Soul's getting nerfed. That's why I didn't want to really talk about it in the video. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to get more into Oaken Soul when we talk about Mag Templar and Stam DK, but for now I don't really care. Because whatever, I don't really see a Necro using Oaken Soul much. I see some Stam Sorks, but that's about it. But yeah, Necro is a great class overall. They got it all. They're a niche class, but you do have a lot more freedom on a Stamina Necro as opposed to a Magic Necro, because of the ability to use more stamina skills and not have to use harmony. So let's move on. Let's do another S tier. So, Stam DK. Now, in my opinion, I think Stam DK is probably the best class in the game. I said that. I think my opinion might change every day, whether it's Sorc, DK, or Magic Templar, but you know, it is what it is. So Stam DK, why are they so good? Now, I do want to throw something out there. People haven't talked about the fact that Stam DK might be even better because everyone's a vamp and everyone takes extra fire damage. Now, I think a stage 3 vamp, you take 13%, maybe 15, I don't know, 13 or 15% extra flame damage. So you're essentially you're giving people major End Miner Berserk on their Molten Whip, so, and their Burning Embers or whatever it may be. So let's keep that in consideration because I've gotten hit with Molten Whips for 10, 11, 12, even 15k. Why? Well, one, they use Oaken Soul, so they get every freaking buff in the game. And two, I'm a vamp, so you take extra damage. Now, don't get me wrong, don't get rid of Vamp. Vamp is a must. It's so good. Stage 3, the Undead passive is incredible, but that's definitely part of the reason why DK is so good, because they're just getting buffs by everyone, by 15% almost. So, makes a lot of sense. But why is Stam DK so good right now? Well, it's really simple in my opinion. Oaken Soul, that's about it. Not really though. I run into some non-Oaken Soul Stam DK users and they're freaking insane. Their dots are really good. They use Plague Break, so they have Venomous or, you know, Burning Embers, whatever, Noxious Breath. And then they also have Plague Break on top of it, doing a crazy amount of dot damage. So it's really good. Another thing about Oaken Soul is that DK has crazy sustain now because they have major heroism at all times, which is going to give them their leap, which is going to give them the resources. So they're just like, I feel like I get leap 17 times every second. Like, leap is so good. Take flight's great. I think ferocious leap is a little better, but yeah. And not only do they have crazy dot damage, do they have crazy ultimate regen, do they have crazy sustain, but they also are insane in team play. So what, like, again, my criteria for an S tier is having everything. Stam DK has everything in a surplus. They have the burst, they have the dot damage, they have the healing, they have igneous shields to give them major mending at all times. They have everything you could want. They have Cauterize as a crazy good heal, or Flames of Oblivion to do crazy, crazy damage. It's really good. They're just really, really shining right now because of the vampire meta and the Oaken Soul meta. Is this going to change? I really don't think so. I think Stam DK is going to stay good. Because next update, they're going to be even better, I think, because of the longer duration to dots. So I'm going to have a 24-second Noxious Breath hitting me? Yeah, okay, get out of my face. Ridiculous. But that's another point. They now have Major Breach on one of their dots. So, like, it is insane. It really is. Like, Stam DK is incredible. They have crazy healing power. Igneous Shield, Vigor. Have fun killing them. And on top of it, since we are in a hybridization meta, a lot of Stam DKs can use Coagulated Blood now. So they have a burst heal that isn't delayed like Rally. They could just use Coagulating Blood and it scales off their stamina and their Oaken Soul and they're back up to full health. So yeah, the hybridization really have benefited DK more than anyone, in my opinion, because I think before they did hybridization, DK was really the only class, in my opinion, that could like really perform in a hybrid setting, because they do have a lot of things that offer hybridization. It's just how I feel, at least. I feel like they're a good hybrid class as it was. So, you know, now that they literally are a hybrid, they're perfect for that. Everything they do is just so well-rounded. They're just a great class. The hybridization made them shine. It shot them up for me. I think when I did my last tier list, I had them in A. Maybe I might have did B, and people were yelling at me. They said A, whatever, give or take. But they're definitely S tier. Everyone is a Stam DK. Everybody's playing Stam DK. They're so freaking good. And if you use dual wield, you can use Whirling Blades and wipe groups with your leap. And if all of what I just said isn't enough, They're insane in group play because they have access to a number of buffs. So Stam DK is in a great spot, and I don't think it's going anywhere. It's going to stay one of the kings of PvP for a long time, at least for the next update. So let's move on. I'll go a little bit quicker because I don't want to take all the time out of your day. We are at 30 minutes right now, and counting. So let's move on. So let's see, what class would I like to do next? So we will move on to my favorite class in the entire game, which is Magic Warden. I main Magden, as you guys probably know. Most of my videos recently have been Magden builds, Magden gameplay, etc. Why do I like Magden? Well, they're fun. I feel like they have a decent amount of class identity compared to most. I use pretty much all class abilities. I really like the idea of them having, like, companions or like animals or nature with them. I feel like that's pretty cool. I love the concept. The colors are clean. The class is cool in general. But on the downside, they aren't very good. They don't have a lot of bursts. They have deep fissure, and that's getting nerfed next update. It's going to be a longer timer. Don't ask me why. Zos is clueless. But they just need a buff. I do actually believe they're getting buffed next patch because, one, they're getting penetration on their animal species passive instead of damage done. So that's really nice. You can get like 5,000 penetration on your front bar. They don't have a reliable burst ultimate. Personally, I use Northern Storm, and that's really nice because it stacks with Balorg insanely well, because Northern Storm now gives 300 weapon and spell damage, and then of course Balorg is going to give you weapon and spell damage and penetration, so they stack together and you can get a nice hefty beefy bonus. But in my opinion, they don't have a good burst heal. Budding Seeds is not good. I'm telling you, everyone says it's good. For me, it literally glitches out. I'll use Budding Seeds and then like it won't work. I don't understand. Like, it doesn't go off. It makes no sense. Arctic Wind is trash. It literally heals for like 4k in PvP. I've had a 40k health build and it did like what, like 5k or something. I literally get better healing from using the Vines, Living Trellis. I use Living Trellis as my burst heal now, and it works really, really well. But I will say Magden is good because they have a lot of buffs that other classes don't get. Like, they get major and minor breach inside of their main spammable, which is deep fissure. Like, that's like 9k penetration just from a skill you're using constantly, and it applies in an AoE. Like, they're really good in an AoE setting. Northern Storm, again, another good AoE. A great thing about Warden as well is that they're essentially going to be immune to projectiles because of Crystallized Shield. That goes for stamina and magic, because with Crystallized Shield you have two options. One, you can either use Major Heroism, which is probably the better option in my opinion, because there's really no other way in the entire game, don't get me wrong, besides Oaken Soul, besides Danger Trickery, to get Major Heroism. So you can get Major Heroism going for about 15 seconds straight, I believe, with the Crystallized Shield, and that's just for one use of the shield. So I think this shield like carries my build. Like, it's crazy good. It saves me from Sorks, it saves me from Nightblades, saves me from Necros. So it's really good. They have minor protection with their armor buff. They have major and minor breach. They have major mending when they get to low health. They have a really cheap healing ultimate with Healing Thicket. They have a lot of movement speed with Bird of Prey, which is getting changed next patch to basically race against time. You're now going to be immune to snares when you use Bird of Prey. Crazy good change. They have a good heal over time with Living Trellis, and Green Lotus is a good skill. It's a great crit option because not only are you getting crit for 20 seconds, but you're getting healed for every light and heavy attack, which stacks with the Restoration Staff, and for healing with light attacks. Now, that's, again, something to mention. I think they're really hindered by the fact that I believe Restoration Staff is an absolute must for Magic and Stamina Warden. I can't play Warden if I'm not using a Resto. I just can't. I need Rapid Regen or Radiating Regen, whatever. I need it. They just lack some burst. Like other classes, they don't have that constant pressure because, well, for one, they don't have enough bar space to be able to get Fetcher Infection on their bar. So that's really annoying. because they don't have a reliable CC like most other classes. That's, again, another huge downside, is they don't have a reliable CC. So, you know, as a Magic Warden main, maybe I'm a little biased. Maybe I want them to be buffed, but I do think it needs a rework. You know, everyone I talk to, and he says it needs a rework. And although, you know, I perform well with it, it's still freaking frustrating. It really is. And Frozen Gate is the last skill in the Winter's Embrace tree, and it's literally the worst skill I've ever seen in my life. So, I don't know. They got nerfed a little bit too hard, but again, they will be on the come up a little bit next patch. They're not going to be amazing, but Arctic Wind is getting changed to spell damage scaling, so that's a nice burst heal. And they're changing Deep Fissure, though, for the negative, so not great. I don't know. We'll see. I think Magic Warden's great in a team. They have a... That's something to mention as well. Although Magic Warden doesn't have a lot of bursts right now, they have crazy good team heals. Every time I play a BG, if I do 1,000,000 damage, I'm going to be doing 400k healing too. Not even trying either. I just use Rapid Regen and Living Trellis in my healing thicket, and I'm really helping the team. And obviously Green Lotus heals you and 2 other allies. So you're naturally just going to be healing people by light attacking, weaving. So I'm really, you know, I enjoy Magic Warden because it is a team class. And they offer a lot for the team, but in solo play, I'm not the biggest fan. They're not great. So overall, that's how I feel about Magic Warden. If you disagree, let me know down below. So let's move on quick. We're going to move quick here. We're going to bang these out in just a couple minutes. So next, we're going to do Magic DK. Magic DK, I believe, is basically the baby version of Stamina. The reason Stamina is way better, well, one, Noxious. I mean, you can use Noxious Breath on a Magic class, don't get me wrong. But more stamina-focused DK is probably better, because essentially with Stam DK, you're going to be using all stamina skills and then just using Molten Whip as your spammable. So people don't, like, again, DK between Magic and Stamina doesn't have much class identity. But if we're talking about if you had to choose and you're being a Magic DK, I don't really see why you would. It's silly. There's no reason to use all the Magic skills. But, you know what? People can do what they want to do. Yeah, it's not as good as Stam. It has, again, all the same buffs, you know, good team play, a lot of team buffs. They can do a lot of healing, but it's not that good. It's really that simple. It really is not as good as Stam. So that's how I feel about Magic DK. Why use all that when you can just use Noxious Breath and Venomous Claw and pretty much be better? But there really isn't much class identity between the two, because you're going to be using a lot of similar skills. So what really constitutes Magic and what constitutes Stam? I don't know. I know a Stam DK when I see it. I don't really know a Magic DK when I see it, because everyone uses Molten Whip. So I don't have much to say about it. We can move on. We'll do Stam Nightblade. So the reason Stam Nightblade is an A tier, one, Stam Nightblade's always been good. They have a lot of single target damage. They have, what is it? Incapacitating Strike. Very good ultimate. They have a lot of movement. They can roll like crazy. They go invisible, and they can burst you out of stealth. They might be even better next patch, because they can do crazy damage out of stealth now with a certain set, I believe, and with their skills. So, very good. Another thing to mention is that Magic Nightblade used to be really good bombers. Now, Stam Nightblade's better at bombing, in my opinion. They hit hard. I don't have as much issue playing against the Stamina Nightblade as I used to. That's the reason they're not S tier. I used to have them always in S tier, every tier list, but now I don't think they're quite as good as they used to be in the grand scheme of things. Not that they got worse, but they're not as good compared to other classes, you know, buffs. They do benefit from hybridization a little bit, I think, but I feel like the only option is going a stealthy Nightblade. I don't really see no stealth Stam Nightblades. I see no stealth Magic Nightblades, but I don't really see stamina versions of that. But it is a good class. They have a lot of burst potential. Again, you rely on your Merciless Resolve, but not quite as much on a stamina build, because you have a lot more damage as it is. I think you have a lot more base damage, in my opinion. Vigor, you roll and use Vigor, and you're going to be back at full health. So, you know, Magic Nightblade's got a lot. They have a lot of single play. They're great 1vx, because they can stealth, destroy people in one hit, and go to stealth again. So 1vx, very good. In group play, it is what it is. Not really great. Great gankers, great bombers. They have a lot for them. They can do a lot, and they can get out of sticky situations with their shade. I don't really see a lot of Nightblades using Shade right now. I don't know why, but I just don't. So we'll move on to the king of PvP, Magic Templar. So Magic Templar is absolutely broken. It's so broken. I see a lot of Templars using Oaken Soul. Ready? I'm going to explain Magic Templar's burst in 1 second. Ready? Purifying, or not pure, yeah, Purifying Light. Gap close, stab. Done. Radiant Destruction. Nothing else to do. That's it. You close the gap. You stab over and over and over. You press one button and then you use Radiant Destruction. Very, very easy. Why are they so good? Like I just said, crazy amounts of damage, single target, and AoE. Their ultimate is crazy with Crescent Sweep. They have a crazy cleanse. They have crazy healing power. They can do it all. They help their team. They help themselves. They're unkillable. I've seen Magic Temp. Sometimes I'll 1v1 a Magic Templar, and we'll just be sitting there fighting each other, and I'm sitting there on my back bar healing, and I'm like, this is a waste of my time. I'm running away. So that's what I do. Sometimes a Magic Templar is who they are, and you aren't going to kill them. So, but they have minor sorcery. They have puncturing sweep, which literally is a spammable that heals them based on the damage they're doing, which makes no sense. Living Dark is so broken, it makes no sense. That's the main reason they're so good, is because you use Living Dark and you literally can't be killed. Like, the healing is so good on it. It got nerfed and it's still insanely good. So, yeah, like, you guys know, I don't really have to explain why Magic Templar is so good. I mean, like, you know, that is why. Their burst is easy. They have the best finisher in the game. They have insane amounts of healing. They have a broken healing ability. And they use Oaken Soul and they're buffed by 1,000,000. Like, really, nothing else to say. If you play a BG, you know all anyone plays is Stam DK, Magic Templar, Stamina Sorcerer, and really Magic Necro. That's all I see anymore in BGs. So, you know, let me know what you think down below. Magic Templar might be the king, in my opinion. If I had to choose one, Magplar is the best because you can't really out-heal their burst. It's so good. You have to run away, but you know what? They're going to chase you down with a gap closer, and they're going to chase you down with a snare from puncturing sweeps. Maybe I'm complaining, but I don't know. I feel like this, in my opinion, is a pretty accurate tier list. If you completely disagree with me and tell me I'm an idiot, I would love to hear it. If you do completely agree with me and think I did a good job, let me know down below. If you have any opinion about any of the classes or anything happening in ESO now or in the future, let me know down below. And as always, guys, most importantly, and the most important thing of all, is make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because I don't have enough of my viewers as subscribers. Please, guys, thank you. Have a good one. Looking forward to seeing you soon.